Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Ari, and hopefully you'll stick around for a quick video. So guys, it's not at all out of the ordinary for LGBT people to start hearing the common line that we made a choice to be how we are. Today I actually had that thrown at me by someone online. We were talking about trans rights, and the thing I got was, well, I don't support anyone being mean or discriminatory against someone for being trans, but you made a choice to be trans. So I thought today we'd talk about being transgender and what does that mean, how is that, or is it not, a choice? So the choice argument is important because what it does is it seeks to invalidate who we are. It's a way of giving the bigots and the transphobes permission to discriminate against us, because if being transgender is a choice, then you could choose to not be transgender. So it's not an issue of, do trans people deserve rights? It becomes more so an issue of, if you wanted to be treated equally, you could choose to be cisgender. So that's the whole purpose behind the argument of choice, and why it's actually important, not just because of it being a personal attack on us, but the impact it has on things like civil rights for LGBT, especially transgender people, now that a lot of focus has started diverting that way. I'm not going to claim that I've always known that I was trans. That's not true. I have always known that there was something different, and somehow all the boxes just didn't, get checked or lined up for the boy label. So I knew something was off even from a young age. There were things with me having to deal with the first haircut and how I responded to that. There was a lot of discomfort as I grew up that I couldn't exactly put it into a neat little package. And a lot of that was because I didn't have the language for it. I had no clue what transgender was, or that that was even an option for me to live. So instead, I chose to live uncomfortable in the box that society had put me in. When I did first realize what trans was, which has been over a decade ago, and was able to put together that what I was dealing with was gender dysphoria, I did make one choice during that time frame. And the choice that I made was to try to act cisgender. That was something I did for well over a decade, knowing that it wasn't necessarily true to who I was, but I tried to fit within society's box. And the result of that was increasing depression, anxiety, panic attacks that all came to a head, a year a year ago now, when I started realizing that the time for me to be myself was slipping away. And that's when that dysphoria really kicked up. Getting another year older, it started freaking me out, because here I was in my mid-30s and I had never truly been myself. So the choice I had made to attempt to act as if I was cisgender just simply wasn't working for me anymore. It was starting to take a toll on my health and on my well-being. That is when I made a decision that I would live out who I always was from the very beginning and start transition. Now, none of that was a choice to become transgender. The fact of the matter is the reason that I had these issues throughout my life was because I always had been transgender. in all honesty, even transitioning wasn't really a choice because my health demanded it. It was too taxing. It was something that I had to do for my own betterment so that I could continue to live out my life and have a hope of reaching happiness. So when you're telling someone that they're making a choice to be trans, the only choice is in the honesty and in the approach that we're doing as far as allowing you to know our truth. We make a lot of choices in regards to transition. To transition at all is a choice to an extent. How we transition, whether that's medically transition or to just socially transition, those are all choices that we have to make. But again, calling them choices really isn't a very good description even there, because for most of us it's something that we simply have to do if we're ever going to be able to be comfortable in our own bodies and live out the rest of our lives. I was born and raised in a very small southern town, very conservative. My family, generally speaking, is conservative. I had a lot to deal with in coming out, and thankfully it went wonderfully. But if there had been a choice to make, if I had the option during all of that to have just been cisgender, then, there's no reason why I would have undertaken all of this with the possibilities of rejection from people that just to transition. If this isn't who I was, if this wasn't who I always have been, then I wouldn't have put all of that at risk. And that's true for a number of trans people across the country and across the world. We have trans people who get murdered every day because of who they are. And we all know, that there is a lot of risk in being true to ourselves because society still hasn't come to that level of understanding our experience. It would be much easier to simply be cisgender if that were something we were able to be comfortable in. So to insinuate that we're making some sort of choice is really to degrade every single trans person who not only experiences gender dysphoria or who knows that they're not comfortable in the gender they've been assigned, but it also insults all of those trans women, especially trans women of color and trans men, who have lost their lives simply for being themselves. That was not because of a poor choice on their part. That's because they were living their truth, their reality, and unfortunately we live in a world that has refused to understand and accept on a lot of levels. So anyway, that's just kind of my rundown on my thoughts on the choice argument. So let me just wrap this up. In conclusion, guys, someone is always going to be out there to attack you when you start being true to who you are. If they're not trying to tell you that you made a choice, then they're going to tell you that you're evil, that you're condemned, that you're dirty, that there's something wrong with you, that you're mentally unstable, that being trans is a mental illness. You're going to hear all of this crap, all of this trash. But what you have to do is be confident in who you are. Only you know your story and your experience. Those people can run off at the mouth, but they can't tell you who you are. So stand up, be proud of who you are, and just live out your life and your existence. So I'll end with my little quote from Kesha, "Don't let the bastards get you down." Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click subscribe, give the video a thumbs up or a like, and make sure you come back every time I upload new videos. I'm sorry that there's been a bit of a delay recently. I was sick, and then I had laser, which I'll be doing a video about, where I looked absolutely terrible. So I wasn't really going to do videos, but I hope you enjoyed this one, and hopefully you'll come back and visit the videos and watch through again. So thank you guys, and lots of love. Bye-bye.